Let's talk about the Vikings now, because we just spent quite a bit about how the Rams looked and how the Rams have a shot to win this division, and they're surging and have won 2 games in 5 days, and the Vikings have lost 2 games in 5 days. And I know a lot of Vikings fans are nervous about that once upon a time 5-0 team finishing 5-12, like everybody. RELAX, to use a phrase from your division. We'll get to that in a second. Because the Vikings had the game in their hands on Sunday against the Lions, lost it. This one they had an opportunity late, because as much as we're lionizing, to use a phrase, Cooper Kupp's performance, and it's worthy of being excited about if you're a Rams fan. He got too close to the sideline last night when all he had to do was just go down, and gave the Vikings a break as they were out of timeouts. And so they got the ball back with $1:50 to go. Now, Ethan Evans showed that punters are weapons too, because that guy hit a 41-yarder and pinned it on the 5-yard line. And Sam Darnold, after an incomplete pass because, Christian Darrisaw was out, going down in the final play of the first half before taking a knee, that you're wondering, if the aggressiveness to try and get points before the half was a little bit of hubris there, and suddenly Darnold didn't have much time in the pocket in that second half. And so he had to get rid of it on first down, and then on second down and 10 from the 5, with time staring the Vikings in the face, the $1:46 to go, Darnold goes back into the end zone, and Byron Young sacks him, which is one way to say it. The other way to say it is that Byron Young grabbed him by the inside of the helmet, and that's a 15-yard face mask penalty that should have wiped out the safety and eventual game-ending play. Clear and obvious for everybody at home. And also, it was clear and obvious to Byron Young, because you could see Byron Young put his hands on his helmet like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Mm-hmm. I just gave them a fresh set of downs. And obviously the Vikings, with that fresh set of downs, would have been 15 yards out, no safety. It would have been 1st and 10 from about from the 20-yard line.
Right, they still had to go 80 yards.
They still had to go 80 yards with no timeouts left, but the game wouldn't have been over. And again, that's the thing with penalties like this, is that you invest all this time if you're a fan, and you're enjoying the game, and it is a back-and-forth affair, and it is a big game for the Vikings to go win again, and like they did the first 5 weeks, and wipe out the taste of that loss on Sunday, and they're 6-1 as opposed to now 5-2 with 2 losses in a row. And the Rams are now keeping Cooper Kupp, and they're not 2-5, they're 3-4, they're feeling great. And that could have been the result anyway, right? A Vikings loss and a Rams win based on the way things are. But we'll never know. And that's the big bummer. And the refs blew it. Yeah. Because Trey Blake, the head ref, whose job it is to look at the quarterback, and it's his job mostly to protect the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Anything to do with the quarterback, late hit, face mask, anything like that, it's his responsibility. And you could see, Prime Video had so many great angles of this. T-Man was on it. And there was a shot behind Blake. So you could see he's directly looking at it. But the way that Young came around Darnold and grabbed the inside of the helmet and the most close to the inside of the helmet piece of metal, it wasn't the front of the face mask and pull, which would have been obvious. It was the back of the helmet and the pull that I think threw Trey Blake off. And I'm not making excuses for him, because there's also an umpire who had a better angle of it, and he got blocked. And Trey Blake, in the pool report after the game, did in fact say that the quarterback was facing the opposite direction from me, so I didn't have a good look at it. I didn't have a look, and I didn't see the face mask being pulled, obviously. There's your admission that it was a face mask. The umpire had players between him and the quarterback, so he didn't get a look at it. He was blocked as well. So that was the thing. We did not see it, so we couldn't call it. We couldn't see it. The pool reporter, Calvin Watkins, then wound up saying, hey, was there a discussion on the field? Because the Vikings were obviously complaining about it. And Blake said, on the field, we definitely did discuss it because they did bring up a concern. We discussed it as a crew, but we weren't able to see it on the field, so we weren't able to make that call. And then the last question, is that play reviewable? Blake said it is not reviewable. And here's my 2 cents on this. There's replay assist, watching everything. If we're seeing it at home, you should be able to use it to a positive effect if you're the National Football League and the replay assist crew with the officials who want to get it right. This is something I will never forget. Again, 22 years ago now, when I first started with NFL Network, and we went to our first owners meeting, at which in 2004, spring of 2004, so I guess 20 years plus ago, 22 seasons ago is when we started NFL Network. At any rate, the question of should we make instant replay permanent was on the table for the National Football League because it was still temporary. They were still kicking tires on it. And Charlie Casserly, then the general manager of the, I believe it was back in 2003, the Texans weren't there yet. I think he was with Washington. At any rate, Charlie Casserly, he basically said, hey, if you're seeing it at home, we should be able to use it. And that was a convincing argument. Where was Charlie with in 2003?
He was with Houston.
He was with Houston.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, listen, if people at home can see it, we need to use it. It was a convincing argument. And last night is a perfect example. I'm seeing it at home. You're seeing it at home. You're seeing it at home. We're all seeing it at home. You were at the game.
Well,
you probably saw it. They didn't show it in the game.
Yeah.
And so it should be used. And the interesting thing is, you know who has been saying this specifically about penalties on the quarterback? You know who's been saying this to the competition committee and to the membership of the NFL? The Rams. Albert Breer, our guest first hour yesterday of Prime Video, saying the Rams sent proposals to the competition committee each of the last 3 years to make penalties on face masks, the quarterback blows to the head, and roughing the passer reviewable. Shot down every time, and L.A. benefited tonight. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Other than the fact that membership owners, some coaches, don't want a faceless individual not on the field, unseen, somewhere in front of a television, making a decision that the refs didn't already make themselves. They don't want that. They don't want anything open to interpretation. That's what made such a mess with the pass interference being reviewable, because that's such an interpretive situation. So roughing the passer is, believe it or not, interpretive. Was there too much body weight? Could the guy have held up?
Yeah, is it catchable?
They don't want that stuff being reviewed by an other individual. They'll have you review it if the refs have already called it now. That they'll do. So the refs didn't call it, and replay assist is seeing that this is the wrong call, and their hands are tied. They can't buzz down. They can't say. That needs to be rectified. And in a situation like a face mask, let's just, because again, the league can't, like if the Rams had said just face masks, they might have had a case, but they made it also hits to the head, and they also made it roughing the passer. But face mask, you could see, is it inside the helmet? Are you grabbing a piece of metal, or are you not? And if you make face masks, even if they haven't been called on the field by the refs, reviewable by replay assist, which is there to assist. That's why it's in its name. And I've spoken to officials before games who say, yeah, we don't mind it when replay assists. We want to get it right. You think Trey Blake wants to be talking to a pool reporter after the game saying, Yeah, I was blocked out. I didn't see it. He would love to have replay assists say, put a flag on the field for face mask, Trey, because you missed it. And the league would like to have the Vikings on the field trying to tie that game up last night, as do fans. But not yet. I'm explaining to you this loophole that we once again found because the football gods found it in the same way they found it in the Superdome and the NFC Championship game when the pass interference call wasn't called, so on and so forth. And you know what? I mean, the head coach gave us the got to play better than the ref situation, or Darnold did, and Kevin O'Connell's not going to take his shot here. He doesn't want to get fined, and he also doesn't want to make excuses. This was his response after.
It looked like he got a pretty good amount of face masks there. Not going to get into, the call or no call and all that stuff. It's just, I told our team, officiating and all that stuff, like for us to talk about that, for us to seek comfort in that is not how we're going to respond to this. It's just not going to happen. And I'm going to do the same thing right now. I really don't have a comment on whether it looked like he got a piece of the face mask, but they didn't think so they didn't throw the flag.
A total bummer, man. I would love to have seen that thing being decided on the field instead of by some loophole that because it wasn't called on the field, replay assist can't buzz down, even though we saw it multiple angles. And again, Byron Young, this doesn't help Vikings fans this morning because somebody tweeted out a picture of him holding his hands on his head as if he had just screwed up.
Yeah, he immediately
basically admit that, yeah, I grabbed the face mask, and he tweeted out this morning, it was just so loud in there, had to cover up my ears,
That's kind of funny. Yeah, he definitely looked like he got his hand caught in the cookie jar when he ran.
It's like, oh, man, I just gave him a fresh set of downs.
Yeah.
Bummer in that respect. And we need to get the NFL membership to tell everybody face masks, even if they are not called, we can put a flag down for it. I think fans would appreciate it and understand it because those are pretty damn clear and obvious. You could even codify it, saying they have to be clear and obvious for a flag to be put on the field for it, because that was it for sure last night. Damn sure. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.